Tonight on CTV News at 6, from hockey sticks to cheese sticks, the potential effects of new American tariffs. The provinces respond to the latest provocation by Donald Trump.
I hope that diplomacy will prevail and the best interests of both our countries will prevail.
It got dark so fast, and then all of a sudden we had to evacuate.
Safety frustration after a storm empties an Edmonton festival.
They told us to leave. We could even use the emergency exits, and they said it was an emergency.
And bummer summer. Keeping a sunny disposition as precious warm days are wasted by bad weather.
It's been terrible. So much rain, now smoke. It sucks.
Still poor air quality here in Edmonton, but it is improving. As far as tomorrow, we should be seeing bluer sky and our temperature is set to climb. Big heat moving in. I have those details. Your 5-day forecast coming up.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. Alberta's premier says the new tariffs the U.S. plans to impose will hurt people on both sides of the border. U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order yesterday imposing the 50% tariffs to a wide range of Canadian products, from alcohol to dairy products to hockey sticks. The White House highlighted the decision by 8 provinces to take American booze off the shelves of liquor stores. It says U.S. companies have lost $500 million in sales. In response to the new round of tariffs, Danielle Smith is one of the 9 premiers who've signed an agreement allowing people to purchase alcohol directly from Canadian suppliers. And CTV's Connor Hogg joins us now with more. Connor, what does this mean for Albertans?
Jeff, it means Albertans can now buy alcohol from liquor producers in other provinces directly instead of having to go through a retailer. The announcement was made at a meeting between premiers in Charlottetown, PEI. At that meeting, Danielle Smith said she hopes Canada and the U.S. can work out their differences before the new Trump tariffs are set to take effect.
I think that what will happen is that we're going to have a pretty intense period over the next 29 days, and I hope that diplomacy will prevail and the best interests of both our countries will prevail, and we'll emerge with a signed CUSMA agreement that continues to keep a tariff-free relationship between Canada and the U.S. That's what we're all hoping for.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford has alluded that oil and potash could be used as retaliation against the Americans. When Smith was asked about that afterwards, she said, quote, "That's not going to happen." A source close to the federal government tells CTV News the Prime Minister was surprised by the tariff announcement. Mark Carney was asked about what led up to this on Parliament Hill this morning.
We have made a series of comprehensive and detailed proposals about how to modernize CUSMA, recognizing the transition that the U.S. is underway in the international and all its trading relationships, including with Canada and Mexico. I spoke with President Trump earlier this morning. We agreed to intensify negotiations in the coming weeks.
Carney met with the premiers virtually today. He says it's up to provinces to decide whether to put U.S. alcohol back on store shelves. Alberta allowed it back last summer. The new tariffs are scheduled to take effect August 19th. Jeff?
All right, Connor, thank you. We'll have more reaction to the new tariffs and their impact on Canadians and Americans later this hour. Some people who had to evacuate a downtown music festival over the weekend say they feared for their safety. They say they were confused and disappointed by the event's directions and response. Miriam Valdez-Carletti has more.
Fan Park and Ice District was jam-packed with thousands of people dancing the night away on Saturday. But Neon Skies was cut short when the Edmonton skies took a turn.
It got dark so fast, and then all of a sudden we had to evacuate.
This alert appeared on the stage, asking people to evacuate due to rain and thunderstorms.
They told us to leave. We could even use the emergency exits, and they said it was an emergency.
A lot of shock, a lot of stress, and a lot of fear.
Julia Allen says she hid inside Rogers Place and security asked people to leave. She thinks there could have been better communication and better planning.
I'm disappointed I didn't get to see Kesha but I'm mostly just really angry with how they handled the whole evacuation.
The overall safety plan was just not a safety plan, really.
Are we expecting people to go to muster points? Do we need to direct them to the nearest exits? Do we understand and know where those exits are?
Those are some of the questions that make a good emergency plan, according to Nate's program chair of disaster and emergency management. She says a good safety plan goes both ways.
As a concert goer, I have a responsibility to also look after my own safety and my best interests.
She adds safety doesn't just stop at the event. It should include a follow-up from organizers,
so that people that have been impacted by the decision understand what are the consequences for them and what can they expect next.
A spokesperson with OEG says all but one emergency exit near the stage were used, adding, at no point was there any undue congestion at the exits and all fans were evacuated in a timely manner. He says Rogers Place and other indoor areas were available for shelter. Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
EPCOR is working to repair at least 3 sinkholes in different areas of Edmonton. This one is in the alley at 105th Ave and 111th Street. EPCOR says the site has been secured and it's working to start repairs. On 107th Street and 103rd Ave, EPCOR says repairs on another sinkhole have begun. Workers had to redirect wastewater before they could begin to fix a damaged section of pipe. Last week, a sinkhole shut down a road near 130th Avenue and 107th Street. A worker on site told CTV News it was about 35 feet deep, and EPCOR did not have a timeline for how long it would take to fix. EPCOR says there have been dozens of reports of subsidences, though most are minor, like cracks or dips in the road. A man has been arrested after an apparent random attack in the Bears Paw neighborhood in South Edmonton.
Drove past here and the guy ran out in front of my car and sprinted across the street here. I just started yelling.
I would say that the police came very quickly and they responded, they were very professional and they solved everything, but I do think that it's so strange. You never see this around here. I don't know.
Police were called to a home at 15th Ave and 105th Street yesterday afternoon after reports a man was attacking random people with a weapon. Police say a 23-year-old suspect was immediately located and taken into custody. A 62-year-old man was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The man arrested is facing charges including assault with a weapon. And police are trying to identify a man they say forcefully grabbed a woman on the city's south side and sexually assaulted her. Police have released a sketch and several surveillance photos of the man they're looking for. They say in April, the woman was walking in a business plaza near Saddleback Road and 27th Ave when she was assaulted. Police say the same man has been seen in the area before, as well as going into a home near Saddleback Road and 112th Street. He is described as having a heavy build, facial hair, and glasses. Changes are coming for so-called lodging houses in Edmonton. Those are places where people can rent individual rooms rather than full units. The changes aim to clarify what's allowed in different buildings and areas. One councillor worries they'll also make housing harder to find for students. Jeremy Thompson reports.
As another semester approaches, university students are starting to search for somewhere to live.
The housing struggle, it's been huge for students.
Most are looking for somewhere close to campus with as low of a monthly rent as possible. Angel Reyna says for many, the search leads to what the city calls a lodging house, where they can rent a bedroom.
The rent's already high. If they can get it slightly cheaper, that's the way they go. But it's not always the safest place for them to be.
The U of A Students' Union is paying close attention to a number of changes City Council is making to lodging house rules. One aims to ensure they're not being used as short-term rentals like Airbnbs. Another adjusts the zoning bylaw to ban them in most residential areas. That would only apply to row housing, multiplexes, and garage or basement suites. At a meeting earlier this month, developers and neighborhood advocates supported the changes.
It sends a clear and credible signal Council is taking their concerns about neighborhood livability seriously.
Councillor Ann Stevenson isn't convinced zoning changes are the best way to address parking, garbage, and noise concerns.
People can be irresponsible neighbors regardless of their lease arrangements.
At a subsequent council meeting, she argued the changes won't address community concerns, but will limit housing choice where it's needed most.
There'd be no opportunity to have any student housing, lodging housing in the new row houses that are being built. I think that's a big miss and reduces some really important housing options. options for folks.
Council supported the change anyway. Reyna says protecting students from harmful living situations is her main concern.
The number of rentable units could decrease, but as long as this is leading to safer housing for students, that is a trade-off that we're willing to make.
There will be a public hearing before the changes take effect. It has not been scheduled. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Rain, mosquitoes, smoke, and even more rain have derailed plans lately for many Edmontonians. Here's Nerman Issa on how you can weather the bummer of a summer.
It's been a multitude of weather conditions for Taste of Edmonton.
Come dress for the elements and enjoy the experience.
Everything from rain, wind, smoke, and some sun.
It's one of those things that, you know, the months planning leading up to Taste of Edmonton, these are things that we're cognizant of.
The erratic weather on top of a pesky mosquito problem is proving to be too much for some Edmontonians. Some say they feel shortchanged with the summer.
It's been terrible. So much rain, now smoke. It sucks.
We are feeling like we're missing the summer and winter is coming.
We planned some outdoor activities like camping and others. We have to cancel it because of the storm.
Others are not letting the rain dampen their spirits.
So I like rain, so it's been awesome.
While we can't control the weather, the smoke, or the mosquitoes, we can control our mindset. According to one local registered psychologist, your attitude can make a less than ideal situation a whole lot better.
There's disappointment, there's frustration, there's sort of a sense of sadness and loss about not being able to have some of that stuff. So it is actually weighing on it.
A registered psychologist says your best bet to weather the storm is to focus on things you can control.
I would have plan A and B and maybe a plan C at this point too, just so you know that you have some other things that you can do that will also be enjoyable, right? They might not be the plan A, but plan C is still pretty fun.
And if those plans include Taste of Edmonton, it runs until Sunday, rain or shine. Nair Nisa, CTV News, Edmonton.
All right, Corey, it was another soaker of a morning for a lot of people, especially in southwest Edmonton.
Yeah, it's really depended on where you were in the city, how much rain you saw. Some areas didn't see much, and some areas saw a lot. And this storm that happened between 3 and 4 a.m. brought a lot of rain. As we take a look, the dark blue, the navy, that's where the heaviest amounts were, as we saw in the south-southwest corner, 36, 22. On the west side of the city, just south and north of the Yellowhead, 33 and 34 millimeters. And then as this storm passed to the east, lost a lot of its moisture, and the impact wasn't as major. Again, this was a lot of rain in a very short period of time. It was about 3 to 4 a.m., and there are some reports of flooded basements once again. So not great. The good thing is, as we go throughout the next little while, the conditions will be a little bit better. We have added more to our total for sure, not factoring yet what we saw this morning. That won't come in until midnight tonight as far as the official amounts, but as of yesterday, 187 millimeters for July. The average is 83. So we could add another 30-ish to that total once we get the official numbers for this morning. 23 right now, winds coming in from the west, fairly light. We need stronger winds from the south-southwest to push some of that smoke back. The air quality has been improving. It's still not great, though, but it will improve a little bit more overnight and through tomorrow. Overnight tonight, a risk of fog. We'll start off at 14 in the morning. Fairly clear sky. We'll see mostly sunny sky throughout the day tomorrow and a high of 29. So the temperature really jumps for tomorrow and more so for Thursday and Friday. Highs of 31 for Thursday and Friday, mainly sunny. And then Saturday could be another tricky weather day. Could add a little bit more rain to the totals. I'll have those details, your 5-day forecast, next time we chat weather, Jeff.
Sounds good. Thank you, Corey. Still ahead, life-saving skills.
All the training that you have, you just kind of automatically go. Like, you don't have to overthink it. You just have to think strategically.
A pair of Alberta teens encouraging others to learn about water safety as they recall the time they had to jump into action. Also next.
But it was also really important to engage people with lived experience and have that all inform the design of what you see here today.
A first of its kind in Canada park designed with dementia patients in mind opens in our province.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
The Single vehicle crashes causing traffic delays in South Edmonton, with police asking drivers to avoid the area. Traffic is moving again slowly in some areas near the on and off ramps of Anthony Henday at Calgary Trail. This is a live look at the scene where it appears a motorcycle is being collected. Police have not confirmed what kind of vehicle was involved in the crash. There's also no word yet on injuries. EPS says they're investigating and will provide more information when possible. 2 teenagers in Alberta say Junior Lifeguard Club helped them save a man's life. Now they're encouraging others to get trained. Noah Rashog has their story.
What do you think would have happened if you guys hadn't rolled into that scene at that time?
Anything.
The waters are calm at Wabamun Lake, but on an August day, nearly 4 years ago, that wasn't the case. Benjamin and Amelia Gerber were 12 and 10 years old, respectively. They were riding in a tube behind their pontoon boat when they spotted some people in trouble.
We spotted the sailboat that was flipped over, and Mom told me and Amelia, as we were the best swimmers, to get out and save that man.
The two had junior lifeguard training. Despite their age and size, they didn't think twice before jumping into the water.
With all the training that you have, you just kind of automatically go. Like, you don't have to overthink it. You just have to think strategically.
Ben dragged the man 80 yards to safety.
From my size, he was easily double what I was.
Last year, the two received awards for their efforts. Ben was given the M.G. Griffiths Certificate for courage in the face of considerable danger, the second highest National Rescue Award.
The night of is when I kind of finally fully kind of sat back, closed my eyes, and was like, oh my, we saved somebody.
This week is National Drowning Prevention Week. The siblings are keynote speakers at upcoming flag-raising ceremonies, examples of how training can save lives.
If an incident does occur, they can kind of snap into action a lot easier. So in the case of Amelia and Benjamin, when they saw the gentleman struggling in the water, they were able to go out there and help him, and do so safely as well, which is really important.
The two have continued their lifeguard training and advocate for others to get their own. Noah Rashog, CTV News, Edmonton.
A new Hope Mission initiative is helping kids get work experience this summer with a food truck. The Hope Mission food truck provides nutritious meals to underserved areas. It also serves customers at farmers markets and public events. The program hires kids who are part of the Hope Mission Tegler Youth Centre. Organizers say working on the food truck teaches teamwork along with cooking and customer service skills.
A lot of youth know about the possibility and what it's like to work, but to actually have the hands-on experience, it's been mind-blowing.
I think you learn a lot of responsibility, and for me personally, I've learned a lot of public speaking, I would feel like, because I've been really shy, so I haven't been able to do that a lot, but this job has been able to push me out of my shell a little bit.
The Hope Mission food truck will be serving communities and events across the province all summer. A uniquely designed space is getting set to cater to a large but often underserved population. Canada's first ever Dementia-inclusive park will open soon in Calgary. As Tim Brooke explains, it's meant to help those struggling and the people who care for them.
Only a few more steps to go before the Martin Family Legacy Garden springs to life. Canada's first ever Dementia-inclusive public park will soon accommodate those with the illness, as well as their caregivers and family members.
It is meant to be for multi-generations and for all to enjoy. We've put in a number of universal design features so that people of all ages and abilities can enjoy this.
Visitors here will see plenty of seating areas, extensive greenery, sensory elements, and even an accessible playground. And 3 color-coded loops allow those using the park to wander without getting lost.
It's very tangible and very legible and very immediately apparent for folks who maybe don't have the cognitive capacity to navigate themselves through other public spaces. So the continuous handrails that support folks, I think that's a huge benefit to the park and the folks that are going to be using the park.
It's all publicly accessible, connecting with the city's pathway system and close to a care home and Forest Lawn Senior Center.
So we worked with people like Alzheimer's Calgary, with the researchers who specialize in dementia at the University of Calgary and Mount Royal University.
There are currently about 20,000 Calgarians living with dementia. And so, while this is a first of its kind public park, don't expect it to be the last.
We have had interest from user groups and other organizations across the country.
The Martin Family Legacy Garden will officially open on September 21st, coinciding with World Alzheimer's Day. Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
Still ahead, a country music star cleans house.
I come from a family of hoarders. Like we thought that we're pretty organized, but we just have so much stuff that we've accumulated.
What you might find at Brett Kissel's garage sale, along with the chance for an autograph. Also next. Madness on the Midway as wrestlers from around the globe step into the ring at K-Days.
Next, coming up in weather, we will talk air quality. Still a lot of wildfire smoke in and around the Edmonton area, affecting air quality and visibility, but we could see a little bit of blue sky. So, will it improve? I have those details, plus your 5 and 10-day forecasts coming up.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile. Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
A country music star's trash may just be another person's treasure. Brett Kissel and his family are holding a garage sale in Sherwood Park. Curtis Goodrum stopped by.
This for free.
Oh, thank you.
Is that good?
My son will be very happy about that.
It's a country clear-out sale. Country music artist Brett Kissel and his family are hoping their pop-up shop will be a barn burner. They're hosting a garage sale at the A.J. Otwell Community Centre.
I come from a family of hoarders. Like we thought that we're pretty organized, but we just have so much stuff that we've accumulated over the years.
We're selling furniture and all our old toys and some clothes, shoes, old hats, and we've made a lot of money so far.
That money will benefit 2 local charities, Alberta Dreams and Golden Circle of Champions. They both help sick kids fulfill their wishes and dreams.
Georgia. Thanks, Georgia. Great name.
Thanks.
Great tattoo. Okay, what do we got in here?
Kissel is already making some fans' dreams come true by hosting a meet and greet.
I mean, I've been a fan of Brett since I was little, and then I just found it really cool that I could have like a, I don't know, personal experience with him and just say I've been to his garage sale.
We love Brett Kissel. We just wanted to meet him and come see what he had out here and support him.
And I know it's all going to charity, so why not support charity?
It's really, really cool to actually have a visit with people. Sign some autographs too. We've been having fun.
The garage sale runs until tomorrow at 9 p.m. Curtis Goodrum, CTV News, Edmonton.
Things were getting rowdy in the ring today at K-Days. Madness on the Midway as competitors from Top Talent Wrestling were going at it. A bit of a size mismatch, and this one with the bigger guy coming out on top. Athletes from Alberta, the United States, Mexico, and Scotland are here competing to be crowned the next Slamfest champion.
Be out here in the middle of the Midway and be able to connect with new audiences, I think is really exciting. And a lot of people get to see a product that they've never seen before. And, you know, you see a lot of people that become brand new wrestling fans.
Final wrestling match for the championship belt begins tonight at 7:30.
Well, there's something for everyone there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You could sort of see a little bit of haze of smoke there. Is it going to lift by 7:30 maybe?
By 7:30, no. But it is improving, and it will continue to improve overnight and through tomorrow. As we look through the River Valley Skycam right now, you can see a lot of smoke haze over the city. And, yeah, that smoke is improving. The air quality is improving, but we still have it. But it will be a lot better overnight and through tomorrow. Temperature right now, we're at 23. West winds 4 kilometers per hour. What we need is stronger winds. They'll be slightly stronger tomorrow, but still on the light side, and they'll be coming in from the south. So that will help. But if we had really strong southerly winds and southerly winds aloft, then we would see this really get pushed back, but not the case. We are at a 6, so a moderate health risk, 5 for tomorrow, possibly even a 4. Everyone's seeing a big improvement. Cold Lake, Grand Prairie still at a high health risk, but to a moderate health risk for tomorrow, and Hinton could be at a low health risk. So we are seeing a big improvement come tomorrow throughout much of the province. As we take a look, what does a moderate health risk mean? Well, the at-risk population, those with respiratory, cardiovascular issues that are affected by air quality, consider reducing or rescheduling strenuous outdoor activities. Really monitor how you feel. The general population, no need to do so unless you start to experience symptoms associated with that. So just be careful out there. Still under an air quality warning. We're seeing that in the north, down into our region, west to Edson, east all the way to Lloydminster. Wainwright, Camrose are included in this. Coronation, and then on the other side of Red Deer, Rocky are under a severe thunderstorm watch. There was a severe thunderstorm warning near Coronation, but that looks to have been dropped. There are some storms southeast of the city slowly pulling off into Saskatchewan. But to the north of us, we've got a little bit more cloud to the northeast, fairly clear to the west, fairly clear to the south, but again, we've got some of those storms pulling off into Saskatchewan. A lot of lightning associated with that. There were some very heavy downpours associated with those storm cells, but that is starting to lose a lot of its moisture as it continues to pull to the east-southeast. For us here in Edmonton right now, mostly clear sky. For tonight, mostly clear. Again, we'll see that sky condition improve. As far as this air quality is concerned, we should see a big improvement for tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we could start off with a little bit of fog, and then we are mainly sunny through tomorrow, a high of 29. So pretty warm for tomorrow. Average seasonal high is 24. We're above that, well above it for Thursday and Friday, highs of 31 for both days. And then Saturday could be a tricky day. We could add to the rainfall totals on Saturday. There's a risk of seeing some more thunderstorms mid and late day. We've got all that heat, a little bit of a cooler air mass moving in, so we could see some more storms on Saturday. So keeping an eye on that, seeing how that develops. 25 on Sunday. As far as the rest of next week, temperatures fairly seasonal or just above. Overall, a pretty nice forecast. The hottest days tomorrow as well as Thursday and Friday. Jeff.
Thank you, Corey. Still ahead on CTV News at 6, Donald Trump starts a new chapter in the Canada-U.S. trade war.
I spoke with President Trump earlier this morning. We agreed to intensify negotiations in the coming weeks.
The Canadian response to another attack on our economy, and
this is going to drive up grocery prices even further for American consumers. It's really going to hurt American families.
Who pays for the international economic disagreement, the impact on both sides of the border? Donald Trump and Mark Carney have agreed to intensify trade talks. Trump has suddenly escalated the Canada-U.S. trade war with new tariffs on $28 billion worth of Canadian goods. Here's CTV's Judy Trin on the moves the Prime Minister is making.
A source close to the government tells CTV News the Prime Minister was caught off guard by the announcement of new 50% tariffs.
I spoke with President Trump earlier this morning. We agreed to intensify negotiations in the coming weeks.
The tariffs will impact more than 500 additional products, from hockey sticks to wine to cement. That's about 5% or $28 billion worth of Canadian exports.
Only response to the way they've treated our farmers and our people. Canada's been very, very tough on us over the years, for many years, and no other president's done anything about it. I mean, in all fairness to them, they need us to survive.
The opposition leader says the new duties are unjustified and wrong, and is calling for all parties to work together to prevent them from happening. The Carney government has already made several concessions. It's splitting revenues on the Gordie Howe Bridge before it recoups the cost of building it. The digital services tax has been scrapped, and the Online Streaming Act rolled back. But the Trump administration says irritants like the provincial alcohol ban and supply management in the dairy sector remain.
things that do not fundamentally commit to resolve these issues, maybe just talk about them some more. And for us, we want them fixed.
Carney wants debilitating tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos removed and CUSMA preserved, but says putting U.S. liquor back on shelves will be up to the provinces.
The decision to change that first and foremost will be taken by the provinces themselves, each individually, and should only be taken, in my judgment, as part of an overall agreement.
Carney did not rule out retaliatory action, which a former Trudeau policy advisor says could be effective.
There are approximately 500 products that they're applying tariffs to from Canada, none of which are oil, none of which are critical minerals, the things that they know that if the costs of astronomically rise, that it will drastically affect their industry.
The Carney government will have less than a month to negotiate its way out of these new U.S. tariffs. They're set to take effect August 19th. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The new tariffs handed out by the Trump administration, along with the ones already in place, will affect people and producers on both sides of the border. Adrian Gobriel explores the impact.
From tariffs on Canadian dairy and cereal to made-in-Canada plastics, to additional swings at Canadian wood products.
All of this is extra taxes that American consumers and businesses are going to have to pay.
The tariff campaign launched by the Trump administration in early 2025 has upended North America's integrated trade relationship, rocking once reliable supply chains while inflating costs for consumers on both sides of the border. Trump's tariffs thus far are estimated to be costing the average U.S. household between $1,400 and $2,400 Canadian dollars annually. And that could spike if these new tariffs go into effect in less than 30 days.
Probably the one that's going to have the biggest impact is tariffs on Canadian cereals and dairy. This is going to drive up grocery prices even further for American consumers. It's really going to hurt American families.
North of the border, wallets here are also feeling the pinch. Canadian households are absorbing an estimated $2,300 to $2,700 in higher annual costs since the tariffs came into effect.
It's making life worse for Canadian families and for American families.
The tariff cycle has also impacted the Canadian economy. Economists are estimating a reduction in Canada's GDP by 1.5 to 2%. The country also lost roughly 61,000 manufacturing jobs since January of last year, when President Trump's second term began.
There's a reason why we need to hold our breath here. There is a reason why we have to take this seriously. I can imagine the pain that so many of the exporters are feeling.
As Canada's economy hangs in the balance, many market watchers believe the federal government's response needs to be measured, in part to protect the cost of living for Canadian consumers.
Economists point out that there was no significant reaction from the markets following President Donald Trump's most recent tariff ultimatum. One theory is that the markets may believe that Washington and Ottawa could reach a trade deal in the weeks ahead. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Stouffville, Ontario.
10 straight days of attacks between the U.S. and Iran are overshadowing any diplomatic efforts, and Donald Trump says he's skeptical about the prospect of a deal.
They want to desperately meet, and until they're ready to meet in a meaningful way, we have no interest in even.
Trump made the comments today while meeting with Lebanon's prime minister in Washington. Iran's interior minister is in Islamabad today for talks to salvage the now collapsed ceasefire between Washington and Tehran. Trump also pledged today to help Lebanon, including assisting the country's army move into villages Hezbollah has withdrawn from.
We have some very concrete plans already in store for that, with others going in and helping. But they're also becoming much more self-sufficient.
Lebanon's prime minister was in Washington to present a plan on how to disarm the Iran-backed militant group and secure Israel's withdrawal from his country. Trump said he would speak to Hezbollah if Lebanon wants him to. After the meeting, he announced American commercial aircraft can resume direct flights to Lebanon for the first time in more than 40 years. A record number of Canadians tuned in to watch the FIFA World Cup.
Lamine Yamal, Pedro Porro, Williams, and thundered in for Spain by Ferran Torres!
TSN says there were more than 30 million unique viewers. That works out to roughly 75% of Canada's population. 6.4 million viewers tuned in on Sunday to watch Spain beat Argentina, making it the most watched World Cup final ever in Canada. The tournament attracted a per-game average audience of 1.6 million viewers, up more than 50% from 2022. Both TSN and CTV are divisions of Bell Media. Still ahead, the United States goes after Canada's milk money.
We've been waiting for Donald Trump to come down on dairy for the last 2 years.
The dairy industry watching closely to see how Ottawa responds to the threat of new tariffs. Also next, catch and release how one man was able to free a bear locked inside his car from a distance. And there's a live look from South Edmonton from the CTV drone. Downtown is back there behind that haze somewhere, I assure you. Smoke is not going to stay forever. It should lift soon, followed by some hot, hot weather. Stay with us.
It's a homecoming this week for our singer-songwriter Creisha Turner, taking the K-Days stage after a decade-long hiatus with a new single and tour. She'll join us in studio Wednesday.
Your Morning Edmonton, weekdays.
Looking at today's market numbers, a dip for the Canadian dollar, closing just below 71 cents U.S. Oil was up $1.86, now around $84 a barrel. Gold was up more than $60. On the stock market, the TSX gained 408 points, the Dow Jones 385. Dairy is one of the key industries impacted by U.S. President Donald Trump's latest round of tariffs. The U.S. sees the tax as leverage because Americans want access to Canada's highly protected market. For both sides, it's about defending supply management systems. CTV's Jean-Philippe Beauchemin has more.
Like 6 generations of his family before him, Angus McKinnon has produced milk just a stone's throw from the U.S. border. And he's been wondering when the American neighbors would target the industry.
We've been waiting for Donald Trump to come down on dairy for the last 2 years.
Under the current system, the tariffs will have little impact on producers themselves, though distributors might take a hit. But some producers have feared Canada's supply management system could be sacrificed to appease the U.S. Some critics in this country have said dairy should not be a sacred cow. The U.S. pointed to Canada's supply management system as a main irritant, justifying 50% tariffs, and put Canadian milk, lactose, and whey on the tariff hit list. Supply management sets quotas for Canadian dairy producers, fixes prices, but also limits dairy imports from the U.S. and other countries, imposing quotas and high tariffs.
Brings a great economic stability. We have a guaranteed price for our milk.
In a statement, the Dairy Farmers of Canada said dairy trade is covered by CUSMA, and the U.S. has been successful in accessing the Canadian market under this agreement. The association said that between 2019 and 2025, exports of U.S. products to Canada rose from $423 million to $1.06 billion. And dairy farmers say they're holding Ottawa to its word that supply management is here to stay. Canada is home to over 9,000 dairy farms, nearly half of which are in Quebec.
Quebec was built on agriculture.
Most are family-run with small herds. The state of Wisconsin alone produces more milk than Canada as a whole. But U.S. President Donald Trump has long said supply management is a highly protectionist barrier, treating American farmers unfairly.
You can see that he's positioning himself, because keep in mind, Middle America elected Donald Trump. Middle America is agriculture.
Milk producers will be watching closely over the next 30 days just what happens with the tariffs. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Coaticook, Quebec.
Following the new tariff threat, a cross-border celebration of the opening of the Gordie Howe Bridge has been cancelled. The federal government says Canada will no longer celebrate the opening of the bridge with the United States. Instead, a Canada-only celebration will take place Friday. The bridge is still scheduled to open Monday. The Gordie Howe Bridge connects Windsor, Ontario to Detroit. Canada's infrastructure minister's office says it would be inappropriate to proceed with a celebration between the two countries. 6 beluga whales from Marineland are now headed to aquariums in the U.S. After using a giant sling to get the belugas onto a truck, the whales in their containers will be loaded onto a plane. 4 whales will head to Chicago. The other 2 will go to San Antonio. The shuttered tourist attraction tried last year to ship 30 belugas and 4 dolphins to an aquarium in China. The The move was blocked by the federal government. Marineland then struck a deal with a consortium of U.S. aquariums and one in Spain. A dog that had been missing for weeks is back home after being rescued from the San Francisco Bay. The puppy was spotted swimming in the bay last week. He went missing on the 4th of July. Rescuers sprung into action and managed to bring him to safety, and he's now been reunited with his family. A man in Colorado had to get creative to release a bear trapped in his car.
A nice morning in Gold Hill. John's got his cool rope for some reason. Now, why would he have a rope? Let's see. Oh. A bear got stuck in a car and locked himself in last night. And I heard honking all night, thought it was a crazy neighbor, and it was just this guy.
Eventually, a long rope was used to open the door, allowing the bear to get out and go back into the woods. The intruder damaged every side panel in the car, even set off the driver's side airbag. Still ahead, artificial intelligence gets a furry makeover with the goal of getting people ready to bring home a guide dog.
Instead of replace the job of a guide dog, is to help to assist the entire training process.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV.
Canadian researchers are combining artificial intelligence with man's best friend to help people prepare for getting a guide dog. CTV's John Musselman explains.
His name is Brando. He doesn't bark and he doesn't bite, but he's a pretty good walker. An AI-enabled robot dog prototype created by students at Ontario Tech University in Oshawa.
The first part we can move by the remote, but now we use the AI to control it.
Brando was designed to help people with sight loss practice guide dog skills before being matched with a real canine companion. Dr. Patrick Hung is the lead researcher behind this project.
He or she has to wait for 3 to 5 years to get a real guide dog, okay? And even though like that, after the guide dog is ready, they have to train the person for another half year to either with the guide dog. And the person may never have any experience with a pet at home at all. So that's why we believe that the AI and robotics can play a role. Instead of replace the job of a guide dog, is to help to assist the entire training process.
Developers say Brando can help build confidence for users. Students are working to make it feel real, adding fur, eyes, and ears that move.
Although, yeah, it's a robot, but you want it to still feel like real, and people can actually feel more comfortable touching it.
Similar AI robot dogs have been introduced in some U.S. states where they are being deployed in long-term care homes. They offer support to patients living with dementia. Back here at home, the goal is similar.
We want to do more community engagement programs, such as with CNIB, Canadian Institute for the Blind, so that we can do more user testing to see how people really use that and want to see whether to add more functions.
Robot guide dogs could be integrated into the guide dog training program within the next 2 to 3 years. John Musselman, CTV News in Oshawa.
The sunglasses really bring it all together, I think.
Just something I can't place my finger on. What is it that's off about that thing?
No, it looks perfectly real. We'll fool everyone.
Maybe needing the sunglasses tomorrow because we're going to be seeing a little bit more blue sky and more sun. Jeff, it's going to be warm. We'll start off around 14, possibly some fog in the morning, and then lots of sun, just maybe a little bit of scattered cloud, 29 for a high. Still a little bit of smoke, but much better than today. 31 Thursday, 31 on Friday, and then Saturday, it still looks like there's a risk of thunderstorms mid and later parts of the day, which means we could see some more rain added to our rainfall totals, could see some good storms on Saturday. So keeping an eye on that, the closer we're getting to it and how that develops, but still at this point, looks like we could see some storms then. All
right, just a normal part of this summer, par for the course. For sure. All right, thanks, Corey, and thank you very much for sharing your time with us. Have a great night, everyone.